Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to the right side of campus here for Thursday, December 13th, 2018. I am your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the big man on campus. Here's my co-host, Donnie Wright. So we'll get you ready for Thursday night football, talk some hoops, talk some baseball, all sorts of stuff going on today. Get you ready for some bowls that are getting going this weekend. It's the Christmas holiday. Great time of year. Let's bring in our co-host, Donnie. Donnie, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Hey, look, we're fighting, right, Jeff? We're fighting to get through this. Couple more weeks, steam rolling into the second half, opening up the new year. As you see with the headlines here, Jeff, a lot of scattershot stuff as we just try to cobble together a show for the people out there and keep it lively and interesting.
Yeah, and that's the challenge of these shows. Coming on, finding those bridges. And some people always just talk about, why don't you guys always talk about sports? That's why. Because when you're doing a show in the morning, a show in the afternoon, and I also have a show at night, you have to figure out and get into, different things. You have to have a variety. So we don't, there are certain shows on this channel like the Low Shack Bag Show that they just break games down, which that's what they're doing. And we'll obviously do a little bit more of that as well at some point, but we got to space it out, right side.
No, it's the truth. And these days, midweek in December, that post, college football break before the bowl season, not much going on. The college campuses, most of the kids aren't even on campus, already at home for, holiday breaks. Conference schedule's not really going to ramp up. But the good part about it is, Jeff, we're real close, right? You get some bowl games, and you get some wishy-washy bowl games this week. But after this weekend, when everything starts to turn up a notch, that's when it gets fun again, because January, February, March, and April, when you include, NFL playoffs, the playoffs in college basketball regular season kicking in, that's where it really starts to get fun. And it takes you, Jeff, right through to the Final Four. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about as well. And last night, Donnie, before we get into some of the headlines here, well, actually, we'll get into the headlines, then we'll go over some of the college scores from last night. First. Manny Diaz heading to Temple. I know this is a guy that down in Miami, a young coach, only about 44, not young, but a young, heading up to Philadelphia. Look, I was hoping for Don Brown, but I think this is a great hire as well. Nice 5-year contract. You would think Manny Diaz would go and elevate a little bit higher than Temple, but I'm glad he did. He's a new football coach.
I don't know who is running. Like, I got to say this right now. Temple's athletic department, say what you want with Fran Dunphy and what they're going to do with Aaron McKee, but it looks like they're going to piecemeal like a nice name after, Coach Fran leaves. Whoever is running and hiring in the board of trustees with their football coaches, this might be one of the best runs of football coach hiring. And we're not talking about, Jeff, Alabama, Georgia, unlimited funds. We'll get whatever coach we want in the country. Kudos to that board of trustees that is absolutely hitting grand slam after grand slam at not a real high-level football program. The way I couldn't even believe it yesterday, because I did see you with the Michigan defensive coordinator. And as soon as I saw Manny Diaz pop in there, that guy is a top 3, maybe the best single overall defensive coordinator in the country. And Temple just bagged him. Look, we're Temple fans just by approximation to the city. What an absolute grand slam by the Temple Owls. Outrageous hire. Fantastic.
Yeah, and continue to wallow on the basketball side. I mean, the same coach for 15 years. Irritating, nonetheless. But again, people want stability. Dunphy's brought that. But nice hire for Temple University. We will get to the game tonight. Guys, listen, we'll get to the game. Bear with us here. We're going to get to it. No Leonard, no problem. Another win for Toronto. They beat up the Warriors. I took a shot with the Warriors last night, a little play on the Warriors, and this was pretty much over in the first quarter. I mean, Raptors rolled. I mean, they just didn't let up in this game. It didn't matter that it didn't have Kawhi Leonard. Siakam 13, Danny Green 15, Ibaka 20, Lowry had 23, Van Fleet chipped in with 10. It was a nice balanced effort from Toronto last night. They look like the best team in the league, Donnie, probably other than the Warriors.
Yeah, no, it's good times. And this is where I have like a little bit of a bone to pick. Like we're on different broadcasting sites, YouTube, we do our Fox Sports Show on WCKG. And I have to bring up what ESPN does on a day-to-day basis, Jeff, right? The NBA is a long season, I understand it. They dedicated 90% of their NBA programming yesterday, Jeff, not to like Toronto and how well they're doing or, Golden State or this and that. They dedicated their program, Jeff, to saying, boy, I can't wait for next year, Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant possibly teaming up for the Clippers. Can you imagine that in another sport, Jeff, where you're just getting underway in your season? Toronto's having a great season, not like maybe Kawhi stays in Toronto and can they actually challenge Golden State? But that was the topic of the day next year if the Clippers can get both of those guys. That is just horrendous by ESPN to me.
They got to do what they got to do. They're like Dust, Donnie. They got to find stuff to talk about. The Raiders are in the news, Donnie. What's this all about?
Yeah, Raiders. Well, I mean, the Raiders, they're the worst, and it's hard to say. Like over the past 25 years, I guess, outside of their Super Bowl runs in the 80s, Al Davis was an embarrassment. Everybody he hired was an embarrassment. Everybody loves Amy Trask. You see her on TV. She's really nice. She's an intelligent woman, but oversaw one of the darkest 25 years of the Oakland franchise, but yet everybody says she's a genius. Then they hand it over to Tommy Boy, the son, and, he's running amok here, a cash-poor franchise now being sued by Oakland Alameda County at this point, saying, you owe us like $80 million because we put these renovations in, and now you're bouncing early. But the best part of this story, Jeff, is it looks like the Raiders aren't going to be allowed to play in Oakland next year. So they are a nomad franchise that are looking possibly, Jeff, to play 8 home games or 7 home games in San Diego next year. Can you imagine that?
No. Didn't they get sued, though, yesterday or something?
Yeah, they're getting sued because they're a cash-poor franchise that seems to get – the Oakland Raiders have sued the NFL, and the NFL has countersued them like 100 times over the past, however long Al Davis and his son Tommy Boy has owned the franchise. But now they're being sued because they're breaking their lease early to go to Las Vegas, but the stadium isn't going to be ready. So they will, again, be a nomadic franchise just looking for a place to play. Would be hilarious if they had to play at Qualcomm or whatever they call it now next year for 7 home games. And San Diego loses that.
Have you ever seen Qualcomm? Like been there? Have you ever been to San Diego, Donnie?
No, I've never been to San Diego. Wow.
It's a fucking weird stadium, man. Like it's so old. Like it looks like the Rome Coliseum. Like, and it's just in the middle of like, it's like part of San Diego where there's like not a lot of buildings. It's just like there. It's a weird building. Yeah, that would be odd if that went on. Big man, you were right. If you're betting unders this week in basketball, take the week off. I tailed that straight to my local and cleaned them out. Yeah, listen, unders are not what you should be doing this week. Donnie, listen, when you have exam schedules, what's the first thing that falls to the wayside when you play a basketball game that night or the next night? You don't play defense. Defense is a mindset. You have to get into that mindset, and you have to say, I'm going to play defense, and I care about defense. A lot of these teams, they don't care about defense right now. It's getting in there, getting a win, finding ways to win the game, and however we win the game, it's important. They're not playing defense, not shutting anybody down. 18 playoffs. Seems like we talk about this every week. What's this all about, right side?
Yeah, now full steam ahead, Jeff. Full steam ahead. You're talking
Good.
about
Let's
now.
do
Maybe we have to thank UCF after all this. Like maybe all the mockery that they've had the past 2 years on we're national champs and nobody gave us a chance. We're going to raise a banner. We're going to put the stuff up in our stadium, and we're actually going to give rings to our players as national champions. Maybe like the state of New Jersey, Jeff, that said, you know what, you bastards in Nevada who think you can have it all to yourself out here, we're going to go ahead and try to get legalized gambling. And everybody, you ain't beating PASPA, New Jersey, you little punk state. You ain't going to do nothing. And 4 years later, we beat PASPA. Maybe UCF is that little underdog, Jeff, that we should buy T-shirts from. We should thank UCF because it looks like they are being the power brokers in this, grabbing conference by conference by conference, even though, Jeff, the SEC is against it. Why? Because they usually get a guarantee of one team and maybe 2 teams in the Final Four. they're going to get outvoted, and we are going to get an 8-team playoff sooner than later. Maybe UFC, Jeff, that we mock are the geniuses here.
See, you even mocked them. You said UFC, UCF.
Whoever.
Listen,
UFC, UCF,
they need
ACC, AAC, same thing.
they need to be pushing this because this is how they become relevant and stay relevant and have a chance to win. The way they do it now, they have no chance. It's just the point. It's just the truth of the matter. And I give them props for doing this. It's helped for everybody. We all want this. Listen, I don't want to speak that way about UCF. I love their basketball program. I just don't. Their basketball team has a chance to win the national title. The football team doesn't. And that's a problem. So I'm glad they're spearheading the effort. Good for them. Jose Canseco in the news, and we haven't talked about him, I don't think, ever on this show, and for good reason. Nobody gives a shit about Jose Canseco. But now he's in the news because he tweeted to Donald Trump that he wants to become the chief of staff. He sent a direct message about the job opening, which, again, this has been an imbecile position the last couple months because no one's been able to keep the job. Jose basically tweeted and said, do you need a bash brother for chief of staff? Canseco told his little buddy he has a secret word. What is this? What is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Look, he's basically saying, let me be your chief of staff. I'll run the show. Look, you're looking a little bit out of shape at your age. We'll pump some iron. We'll get some HGH in here. We'll, get some vitamin B. And we'll get you going, President. Like, I'm what you need to reinvigorate yourself. And I tend to agree.
You would. You actually want Jose fucking Canseco as a chief of staff. Give me a break.
You will have those guys working out in the morning. They'd be jogging, lifting weights. Rejuvenation.
Maybe. But hey, it wouldn't surprise me because nothing surprises me anymore. So I'm sure he'll be the chief of staff within a couple months, Donnie.
Sergeant at arms right there. He can be. True story.
Yeah. By the way, what does the chief of staff even do?
I'd say manages the staff. Yep, manages the staff. Here's what you guys are all doing today. I'm the chief of staff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure he could handle that, but I guess as long as he doesn't do anything really crazy. Okay, I got you. Yeah, so he's not making any potent decisions, which is fine. Last night, Donnie, before we get into Thursday night football, a couple scores to keep of note. Oregon gets the job done, and they finally cover a game. They beat San Diego and covered. Donnie, I want to make note of the Brooklyn Nets. They continue to cash as an underdog. They beat up the Sixers last night. Keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. And I got to shout out. I'm the president, Donnie, of the Lipscomb fan club. I'm going to shout them out again. They are going to go and beat someone in the tournament this year. You can believe that. They're going to give someone a game. This Lipscomb team is really good, Donnie. And they didn't win last night, I know. But they've already beaten TCU. They've already beaten SMU. They were right there with Louisville. This is a good basketball team, Donnie. They're a 13-14 seed. Look out for them in March.
Yeah, watch it. Watch it coming down the stretch last night. A good game, too, because it looks like it was one of those games where Louisville would jump out by double digits. They would close the lead. Louisville would jump out by double digits. They would close the lead again, which is nice to see because most of the time, Jeff, what do you see in that instance? When you have that dog that's getting about 10 points, they keep it close. Then all of a sudden you see that score, 54-44. You're like, oh, that's a wrap because you know where that goes, 15, 16, 17 points. But that's a heady ball club. I mean, going on the road to a capable opponent in their house and closing multiple double-digit leads. And you're right. I believe they actually had the lead by 1 point, I want to say, or maybe down 1 point with a minute or 2 minutes to go. Just couldn't close the deal, but it's a tough one if you're going to go in and beat Louisville straight up.
Yeah, didn't need them to. Just needed them to not get blown out, which they were able to do. Donnie, one other thing, I thought you'd get a kick. This isn't really funny, but it is amazing. A California man had to be rescued after being wedged in a Chinese food restaurant grease vent for nearly 2 days. Authorities were called to a San Lorenzo restaurant after a neighboring business owner said he heard noises coming from the walls. He kept hearing, Campos managed to get into the vacant restaurant only to discover a man stuck in the grease.
Vacant restaurant. Gotcha. I thought it was like a live restaurant. So I'm saying they're cooking all day long and they hear a guy yelling and they don't know where it's coming from. Jeez.
he was in the grease exhaust vent in the kitchen. How does that happen?
Was he trying to steal some copper or like some piping?
Uh, that's that seems to be maybe correct here, and he got a nice little surprise for the next 2 days.
Oh,
And it looks like the guy after they conducted an investigation, maybe he was trying to commit a burglary. How about that?
sure. Yep.
Nice
Don't
little
go into
surprise
old
for you.
Chinese restaurants, man. They leave that thing booby trap. You know.
I watched this guy last night, Donnie, on YouTube late at night. There's this guy that gives you he's like one of those security people. Like he gives you like tips on how to get out of stuff that happened to people, and like it is quite amazing how dumb criminals can be sometimes. Like the way like they do things and like the desperation of some people. Like that you're gonna literally like they showed this one guy in like Alabama. He was like an Indian guy. He owned a store, and he tried to rescue the gun away from the guy, and the robber ends up shooting him and gets away with like $16, and he ended up going to jail for murder. But like some of this shit that people do that they're so desperate for stuff, and just like you ever think that's gonna happen to you, Donnie? I mean, you own restaurants and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna guess they were never robbed, you know?
No, never had a
But
robbery. How about yeah?
now let me ask you, what
Robbed by
would have been the
robbed by my own people at times, yes, but not from
okay?
a hold.
Now let me ask you, what would be the protocol? You would just give the money up, or is
Yeah,
that
see, that was always joke. Like I would come into the stores and I would tell the kids, whoever's working the front registers, I would say, look, no matter what happens, if somebody comes in with a gun and holds you hostage, never ever give up the money. That's what I would tell them. This is my money.
never?
Yeah, I was
What would
being
like?
yeah.
Okay, so you didn't have like you weren't like one of those like businesses where like you're like fucking shoot them if they come in here, you know?
No, because I mean, you get it back anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal.
Sure.
But I used to joke with them like, "That's my money. I don't care. I don't like. I don't care about your life. I care about my money. So don't you ever give any money out of that register." And they knew I was joking. But
Yeah, sure. There was just a joke, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's there's a lot of desperate people out there, man.
sure.
Let's move on here. Let's get into Thursday night football. Donnie, Savannah State plays tonight, by the way. You know what they're synonymous for, right?
Shootout, baby. Going to take a lot of jumpers in that one.
Now, do you know who they play tonight?
I do not.
Wisconsin.
So it's going to be slowed. Is Wisconsin going to bust the 100-point mark? Amazing.
Oh, for sure. I almost guarantee they blow 100 points. Savannah State is shocking. I want to see
I
what
would
the
like it.
numbers.
Like if you were getting a D1 scholarship and you weren't that good, I would love to go to Savannah though, man. You get to chuck it. You might drop 30, 35 a
But you
game,
don't
get your
learn
burn on.
anything,
You don't
and
know
you're
what are they
not good.
learning anything. They're going to the pros. Get an
These are
education. Have fun on the
These aren't
basketball.
good shooters anyway. Yeah, but the education's being ruined because they have to go to games like this. 36-point favorite, Donnie. 36.5-point favorite, Wisconsin tonight.
I would like that
Total.
though. I think it'll be fun because you're not
Total.
getting a scholarship anywhere else, and you get to play at Wisconsin. You get to play big name teams. Maybe you go into Wisconsin in the Kohl Center tonight, and you're a guard for Savannah State, and you drop 25. You tell your kids about that. I played at Wisconsin, dropped 25 on those fools.
Now, just to make this clear, they don't have anyone that will do that, but I understand your point. Wisconsin, a big favorite here. 163 the total. Got to go over, no? How do you not go over?
I mean, it should. It's forced to go over because it doesn't matter how slow you play. One team's not going to play any defense and shoot the ball right away. I don't care how long you run your offense for. You have to, right?
And again, is Wisconsin that? Do they care that much tonight about defense? They probably
No.
do. I could see Savannah with like 55 in this game. This is like a 98-55 game or something. I'm actually considering the under, honestly, because I think this is going to be one of those games, Donnie, where Savannah just literally can't make anything because they're going to be forced to take their 23s as usual. I'm going to look more into this game. I'm a Savannah. I know so much about this team. I'm going to look into this game. All right, Donnie, Thursday night football tonight because we have to. The Chiefs and Chargers. The weather in this game is interesting. Going to have some rain probably, about 40 degrees. Chiefs
Yeah,
3.5.
not as bad though, Jeff, from earlier in the week. So I think, I mean, if you can make a mostly cloudy, light rain, weather's not going to be in the 30s. They were anticipating maybe snow, so it doesn't look like it's going to be quite as bad as what we had thought on Monday, Jeff.
Okay. Chiefs 3.5, total 54. Tyreek Hill probable. Melvin Gordon doubtful. What do you think about this game, Donnie?
Yeah, he's out. Eckler's out in this football game. It's funny because Kansas City's at home. It's a Thursday night football game. Road teams. I don't care if you had an all-star team. If you just got to pick from you had Phillip Rivers. You could pick an all-star. You could pick Zeke Elliott, let's just say, or maybe Todd Gurley. You could pick Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver and just line up there as a Chargers. You still would get beat because it's Thursday night football and nobody can get prepared for that game in that short amount of time. You saw last week, that was a tough, hard-fought game. This is actually a pretty good spot if you are the Chargers and you weren't so banged up because you're getting a game last week where you had to pour it all on the line if you were Kansas City. Fast, physical football game versus the Baltimore Ravens, and then you get to come up against another tough opponent at home. But the problem is, as I said, it is at home. So it's still a Thursday night road game for the Chargers in this one. I can't go anywhere. Threes were out there early in the week. It's now 3.5 primarily across the board. If you're betting the Chargers, it's the holiday season, Salvation Army, do good. If you're saying, you know what, before you push that button on your DraftKings account and your offshore account, whatever it is, your local account, instead reach in your wallet. Take that money you were going to bet on the road team tonight and donate it for a good cause and get the receipt back for the donation so you can write it off on your tax returns. It's a much better investment than automatically burning your money by betting the road team on Thursday night.
I don't disagree with you. I think I wish the weather was better because I have kind of some interest in the over.
It's flipping back and forth, and you're right because when we opened it up on Monday, I was sitting there. We're at the pull the trade, and this is the problem that we have with betting unders in the NFL, and especially when you're betting the unders with Kansas City and you have a legitimate offense in the Chargers. It was 56 points when it opened up. Some outlets 56.5, and I'm ready to just take the value because here's what you talk about a lot, Jeff, which me and you disagree on a lot of stuff that the old school guard would say. Look, it's going to be 56, and the line's going to drop. You know that. Do you automatically, Jeff, just bet the 56 because you know it might end up at 54, 53, or 55 and say, I got value from the opening line, even if you don't believe in the line? See what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. And Donnie, it's interesting with Thursday night home games with the home teams. They've won 7 straight, covered 11 of 13, and you look at over the last 3 seasons, Thursday night home teams, 30, 13, and 2 against the number. It's a 35% ROI, and that's basically 70% of the time they cover.
Yeah. It's outrageous.
That's pretty telling, Donnie.
Yeah. What other sport can offer that up where you literally give a sacrificial lamb the road team? That's why every year everybody laughs when I say stuff about the Dallas Cowboys having the single best schedule in the NFL every single year. You know what the first thing I look for, Jeff, on the Eagles schedule when it comes out? Let's just say the 2019 schedule is going to come out. What do I look for first, Jeff?
Thursday night game.
Yep. Do we have the home Thursday night game or do we have the road Thursday night game? The very first thing I look at on the schedule. And when I see we have the home Thursday night game, I say, you know what? That's an automatic win. Let's see what we can do. When I see the Thursday night game, which is interesting because you know who's bucked that trend, Jeff, the last 2 years? Philadelphia Eagles won and covered on the road last year against Carolina. Philadelphia Eagles won and covered on the road on Thursday night versus the New York Giants this year. So it's funny that the Eagles are actually bucking that trend, but everybody else, you just get served up on a platter to get absolutely slaughtered. So we'll see what happens tonight in that environment.
Yeah, look, if Gordon was playing, I'd kind of have a different feel maybe on this game because the Chiefs just dreadful against the run.
Or Eckler, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? You're down your 2 back. You say, oh, Jackson looked really good. He's at a Northwestern. I saw him run a couple. Come on, fellas. It catches up to you, man. You got to have your best players out there.
He did look good. I'll give him that. But you're right. I want Gordon in a game like this. I like the Chiefs. I agree with you on this one. Though the Chargers this year, 3-1 is a dog. 3-1 is a road dog as well.
No, hey, look, they're a team, man. It's a shame. It's a shame they're injured because they would be live as dogs if anybody could be live dogs on a Thursday night game because you see them. They come back from the dead. They came back from the dead, whether you get help from the referees or freak plays. They run a good offensive system. They have a really good quarterback, and they can rush the passer, and that gives people problems.
Fascinating game here. What do we got on the chat here? A couple people. Yeah, Celine, we're not buying a point. We don't buy points. Come on, dude. Buy a point. I want to play 140. I'm good. No. Donnie, to buy a point, what's that going to cost? 150?
Full point is expensive to go from 3.5 to 2.5. Like, it's not like buying a point from 5 to 5.5 or something like that. That's really expensive.
You cannot be wasting money like that. You cannot. You have to be confident in your pick. And if you think the game's gonna end on 3, probably should take the Chargers if you're that worried about it.
Yeah, that's why I always like to say, because we always want the best number psychologically. But can you imagine capping a game saying, you know what? I love Kansas City, but I only love them at 3. And I scratch my head and be like, what does that even mean? So you actually not really sure. You love the game, but you're not really sure the Chiefs can actually win the game is what it really pertains to, right?
Yep. Donnie, Chip Pyler checking in. I got off early last night, and I had a cop chase me down, rushed to my car, and said, we're looking for a car like yours in a robbery. Donnie, have I ever told you that story about when I was about 16 or 17, and I had an issue with the cops with my mother in the car? Did I ever tell you about that?
No, were you driving at 16?
Yeah, real quick, basically. I was like almost 17. It was like May of that year, and I turned 17 that year, and I was basically a senior in high school at the time. And I decided one day, my mom was, she was off work, and she decided, why don't we go to the mall? We'll, have a day you could take off, because I think it was like senior skip day of some sort or something. Mm-hmm. So I decided to not go to school that day. So we go to the mall. We're coming home, and I'm driving her car. She had a convertible at the time, and she was like the driver and the passenger, because that's what you have to do when you're 16. And I'm driving, and I have my hair spiked like normal. And I make a left turn, and before I know it, I look at my rear view. I see 3 cars, cop cruisers behind me. And my mom goes, what'd you do? I said, I didn't do anything, I don't think. I'm pretty sure I had my turn signal on. So I pulled down the street, and it was kind of trafficy, but I was moving a little bit, and they turn their lights on. So I pull over. The cop on the loudspeaker goes, put your hands up, both of you. So I put my hands up, and I'm thinking, what is this? This is not normal protocol. And their guns are drawn, Donnie, as they're doing this.
No.
Ask my mother. She was there. Yeah. My hands are up. He goes, driver, put your hands to the left. And I was like,
throw your key.
Do it. Yeah. And put your, and then he's like, keep the keys in the ignition. Oh. And then he comes up to the door and opens the door and pulls me out. And my mother's like kind of emotional at this point. And, they take me and they put me in the back of the car. They didn't handcuff me. I think they knew I was young. And I see them talking to my mom outside, and they're talking about a murder that had been committed. And I'm thinking, and I swear to God, Don, I'm thinking, was I around anyone that murdered somebody? I was like, I was in high school. I knew I didn't murder anybody. But it was just a big mix-up. I looked like someone that they were looking for, and they didn't like throw me around or anything. I think they kind of almost knew it wasn't the person, but they had to do their due diligence. And I remember my mom, I think she wanted to like flip out because she thought I actually did something stupid, but it was a weird, but they have to do that, Donnie. And in this case, for this guy, they did it to him as well. Sometimes, and they ended up showing me the guy they were looking for. And I did kind of look like the guy. I had the same haircut, same everything. So they did their due diligence, Donnie.
There they go. Man, look at that.
I could be in jail for murder right now, and I didn't even do it.
True. Should have resisted. Jeff, you would have resisted. You might have came away with some pocket change for yourself as well.
Good point. I didn't know about that at the time. That was many years ago. I could have been the first. Fuck.
Yep.
That was
King, right on the spot.
Yep, that was the only one. It was Rodney King. Back then, there were, that was like 13 years ago. That was a good time ago. What else do we have here? NFL, Donnie, playoff talk. It's heating up in the NFL.
Yeah, no, I mean, we went over it yesterday. You had your dentist appointment, so I had a nice stroll down memory lane and just went over some, interesting standings and like who's going to be heading into the playoffs. I think it's pretty much cut and dry to me, Jeff. I mean, we talked about it the other day, but now you see some things coming into focus. I think it's pretty evident that those Minnesota Vikings, just by default, are going to end up being that 6th seed in the NFC. Obviously, the Seattle Seahawks are going to make it. The Dallas Cowboys are going to make it. And the Chicago Bears, Panthers, Eagles, and Redskins really don't have any shot. And I don't want to hear about, Green Bay Packers can run the table. I mean, come on, man. What do you see out of the Green Bay Packers are going to run the table, let alone even beat the Chicago Bears? Even though I think the Packers might give the Chicago Bears a little bit of a test this week coming in. And then the AFC, Jeff, you have that logjam. Tennessee Titans 7-6, Dolphins 7-6, Colts 7-6, and the Ravens 7-6. Interesting to where those Steelers end up, Jeff, at 7-5-1. Let's just say this week, the Indianapolis Colts beat the Dallas Cowboys, which I think will happen. The Steelers lose to the New England Patriots, and the Ravens, which they should, beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. How about the Steelers, Jeff, missing the playoffs this year? How'd that go down?
Yeah, it's definitely surely possible at this point, and that's what's crazy about the AFC. I mean, there's so much in and out right now. We really don't know. That's what's so amazing about it. Now, Donnie, I bet Blackjack Fletcher that he bet me that he thinks that it's going to be Patriots Chiefs and no one else. I basically took the field. Do you think that's a good bet?
Patriots Chiefs. No, I think the field's a very
so
good bet,
basically
because,
it could be one or the other or neither of them.
Well, he gets both of those teams to advance to the Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying in the AFC?
Yeah, and I can get, like, let's say it's the Patriots Steelers, Patriots Texans, or
you get everybody else. Yeah, no, I like that. No, yeah, he gets Kansas City and the Patriots, and you get the rest of the field. I mean, you're talking about, like, because we went over it yesterday. The Chargers and the Ravens are going to be live in the playoffs. They can roll out and play anywhere. Yeah,
I even get one of those two teams as long as it's not those two teams facing.
No, that's what I'm saying. He has Kansas City and New England. You have the rest. Yeah, no, I like that. I do like that.
Xylon McCoy checking in saying that Tony Gonzalez is getting his ring tonight, so that's probably a reason the Chiefs are going to win this game. Come on, man, you can't really think that that's going to matter.
Look, we'll go in the NFL circumstances, Jeff. If you remember, I'm going to say 2005-ish, one of the biggest nights for the Philadelphia Eagles on a Monday night game. It was Reggie White retirement. He was already passed away, but he was going to get his jersey retired by the Philadelphia Eagles. They flew his family into town. The Eagles were still eligible for the playoffs, and I believe they lost that game by 40 points. Just because you're retiring somebody's number or having, a good time out there doesn't really equate to the field itself.
Yeah. Now, again, I guess they're already in the playoffs. What do they clinch tonight? They clinched something, I believe.
Well, they probably clinched the division because you would move to 12-2 and then knock the Chargers down to 10-4. So that would probably ultimately, will it cement it? Because you would have what, 3-2 games? Yeah, you would be done. They would cement the West.
Perfect. Elliot V checking in. What's up? Mr. Say 10 checking in. What's up? That's your boy, Donnie, Mr. Say 10, right?
He's up early today. Maybe he's on the move out there on the West Coast. Mr. Say 10 is a 26-year-old white kid that went to USC. Did you not know that?
No, I did not know that.
He doesn't come off that way on here. You know what I mean? He's very fresh, but that's
actually,
I met him. That's what he is.
I've actually talked to him and on Twitter, and he showed me that he's not that. So I don't think that's
everything around him is a fake. You can't take pictures of him, but I know for a fact he's a 26-year-old
which is
white
odd
kid, very
because
hipster.
I'm about as paranoid as it gets. And again, listen, I understand vigilance, but like when you're like one of those people that like won't tell anyone anything about you, it's like, who the fuck are you, bro?
I just told you who he is.
You think you are?
He's a white 26-year-old hipster that went to film school at USC. That's what he is.
Yeah, but so why is he so protective of like who he is? Like, I don't know. I always thought that was kind of odd by people. Like it kind of freaks me out, to be honest. It's like, why don't you want me to know who you are? Like there's something weird about that. Like it's kind of like copish, really. Like, what are you, a cop? Like you a Fed or something? Like you don't want me to know who you are? Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Giorgio Migliaccio. I'm a 26-year-old white kid.
Everybody's a 26-year-old white kid in here. That's what we are. You know what I mean? You can all play that.
Well, you're an Italian white kid. Giorgio. Is that not those
Maybe that's not
Italian
his name.
names?
That is. Yep, that's his name too. Yes, it is.
Giorgio Migliaccio.
Migliaccio, maybe. Maybe.
Migliaccio, right? It's
Yeah, there you go.
terrific. I had a kid growing up, Donnie. He's my best friend. His name was Giovanni, and he spoke Italian. It was just, bro. People from Italy are the best. They're the fucking best. Like the way they talk, like everything. It's
Giorgio
terrific.
actually has a cousin named Furio. Did you know that?
Food. Yes. And Vincenzo. This is his other cousin. And Italians are the best. The best. Aloha from Hawaii. 5:35.
Picking up early.
Wow.
Coffee.
How
Yeah, they
about
got some
that?
good coffee out there, Jeff. I don't drink coffee, but I hear Hawaii has the best coffee.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it
Very
does. I
strong
love
strain. Very nice strain out there. Yeah.
By the way, Donnie, shout out to Temple University. Got the cup. Look at that. Little,
Yeah.
little
Wife's
mug.
alumni at Temple. Wife's alumni at Temple. And every time Temple's like, I try to play the angle to her, Jeff. Like if a Temple football game is on or Temple's home this week or whatever Temple comes up. And I say, this is your alma mater. Like you should be watching this. And I get the GFY. You know what I mean? Come on. It's not nice.
Go fuck. Now, Donnie, also, about Italians, the funny thing. You know what I think would be a funny documentary, or at least like a funny skit, is if you went over there and showed them how Italians here act.
Yeah.
Like what they would think of that. Like I always thought that would be funny. Like I know they don't think well of it probably, but I want to know what they would think of it. Like
you went over there dressed up. You had like you were like in the Jersey Shore. You had the Adidas headband on. You had the tracksuit.
Yeah.
You know.
I used to. Hey, listen, Donnie. When I was younger, I used to wear the headband. Seriously, I used to go to the mall with my hair spiked, and I had the headband on. No shit, no bullshit. My boy and I, Lupcho, we would go there and we'd rock the headbands. Like I was. Yeah, for a couple minutes, like back when I got pulled by the cops there, I told you back around that time, it was pretty fierce. We had the Guido shit going heavy. So you don't drink coffee, Donnie? I never knew that about you.
No, I hate coffee. I can't stand coffee. Yeah, I can't stand it. Same thing with wine. I've never had a true glass of wine. I've had sips of wine, but I've never ever. I'm 41 years old, Jeff, and I eat it. Steakhouse after steakhouse after steakhouse. Everybody drinks wine. I've never, ever, ever in my life ordered a glass of wine. How do you like that?
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I don't think I had either.
I've never had a glass of wine in my life. Isn't that amazing? Jeez. And I like alcohol.
Yeah. I've never had any of those energy drinks that you drink. So I it's just kind of we're all different, right? What do we got, Donnie, for basketball talk here? You got anything?
That's why I was setting it up for you. Like I tried to just string together, Jeff, these last three taglines there, hoping that you could carry it through. But I'm talking like NCAA basketball talk. What I wanted to bring up is obviously as we're going through the holidays, we haven't really started true conference play to dig into it. Like surprise teams in the top 25, disappointing teams that you thought would be better. Quad A Green bouncing from Coach Cal. Boy, that's Kentucky programs in shambles right now, Jeff. Huh?
Yeah, I'm interested to see where Quade goes. Very Philadelphia kid. He's from Southwest. Very connected still to the city. I know he's very in tune with the music scene around here. He's big into the city. Very Philadelphia. I'd love to see where he goes. Maybe a little Aaron McKee action Donnie next year. Maybe. Can we dream? Maybe. We can dream. We can dream. But I'll be interested to see where Quade goes. He hasn't really ever gotten what he wanted at Kentucky. It was good for him. I think he thought that it would be a lot different. Maybe he'd be a one-and-doner, but he wasn't a one-and-doner, so I don't know why he thought he would be. As far as surprises, I've been surprised with how good Michigan's been. I thought Michigan would be really good. I thought they'd battle it out to win the Big Ten, and I think they still will. But I did not think they'd be 10-0 and this dominant defensively. They have been really, really fun to watch. Disappointments, probably Villanova. Surely Villanova. I thought Villanova would continue to dominate. The problem is Villanova has no point guard, which is a big concern for them going forward. They turn the ball over way, way, way too much. I think basketball's been quite to board this year. I mean, I thought all the teams that are in the top 10 would be in the top 10. So none of that's really been surprising yet. We haven't had necessarily those big upsets yet. I mean, Tennessee beat Gonzaga. So, I mean, that's not a surprise. You haven't had that, Kansas go down, and that will happen. They'll lose to, I don't know, Oklahoma or something, some random team. So, yeah, again, it's still real early. We're still dealing with a lot of, small teams against really big teams. Conference play is coming to an end. And that's another reason, Donnie, you really want to start when you're betting over-unders and even games in general, finding out where these teams are in their schedules, because you're getting to a point, right side, with bettable opportunities on what do I talk about? Those SWAC and MEAC teams, betting against them, because you look at some of these schedules coming up. I mean, you have teams that are playing, for instance, Florida A&M this coming weekend and into next week. They have 2 back-to-back nights, Donnie, in college basketball. That's almost unheard of. They're both away games. They got to go to Utah and then to Oregon. That's a brutal, brutal travel schedule. Another one tonight with Savannah State. You had South Dakota State the night before. You got Wisconsin tonight. These are brutal for these kids because these are at the end of schedules. They haven't played at home in a long time. They're just knackered at this point. It's a tough, tough, tough thing to do. A team to look out for and keep your eye on. I don't think this will be a surprise to anybody, but keep your eye on this group. Texas Tech. I think they're just as good as they were last year, if not better. And that's saying something because they went very far in the tournament, as everybody saw. This is a very good defensive team. Chris Beard's one of the best coaches in the country. Keep your eye on Texas Tech. They could be that team that surprises everyone in the Big 12 and wins it this year. Kansas, I think, has a chink in their armor, so don't be surprised if Texas Tech hangs around. But Donnie, we're just waiting to get in the conference, but I know you are as well.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the best times of the year because it's enjoyable because you have games every single night. And the thing you like about that too, Jeff, is you almost have the shift in focus. Different conferences play on different days, so you get to gear up. Big Monday. The ACC will play later on Wednesday nights, guaranteed, and the Sun Belt maybe a Tuesday, Thursday. Those are the fun days that I like and look forward to in those.
Keep in mind, for anyone curious, the top team in the country against the spread is Samford. They're 9-0 against the number. Murray State's undefeated against the spread. Buffalo, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, all very good against the number as well. Some of the worst teams, Donnie, against the spread. The worst team in the country against the spread, Tim Cluis up at Iona, 0-8 against the number.
Maybe they should be fighting their players. They could be a little bit better, Jeff.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Clemson 1-8, Alabama 1-7, Canisius 1-7. So you definitely want to either stay away or buy low on those teams. We have all sorts of alcohol talking here tonight. As it's interesting. Donnie,
Jeff, way to go. By the way, what do your parents drink? Since I'm coming up there next week, you can't come empty-handed when other people welcome you into their functions. What's mom and pop drinking over there?
That's a good point. And for anyone that's curious, Donnie Rightside was invited to the NADU shindig next week.
They're lying. They never even met. They don't even live near each other.
Yeah, well, for anyone that's curious, it is a invite-only party, and only the esteemed and welcomed will be interested and accepted. This is an esteemed party, Donnie, full of distinguished guests, and you'll be one of them. As far as what they drink, it's an open bar. So, again, I don't know. I'll have to you know what? I'll get you that info, Donnie, because my dad's more of a beer guy. My mother's more of a wine girl. So
yeah, so we might have to get some wine going. Okay.
That's kind of you, Donnie. See, that's what bosses do. They give gifts to other bosses. Now, we will take video from the party. Donnie will be there. I'll be there, obviously. So we'll do maybe we're not going to be periscoping the entire party, Donnie. But maybe we'll do a quick one.
Don't
you
let
and
Zach
I.
Hear that. Zach might force us to have an episode of Right Side of Campus live from this party. So let's keep it quiet.
No, dude, we don't do that childish behavior. Ugly sweater. This is a very much buttoned up event. You must wear nice stuff, all sorts of no crappy sweaters. We want distinguished get-ups. Nothing ugly. Can I be Donnie's? You're not going to be anyone's +1. He already has a +2, and he'll be bringing them as well. So, no, I don't believe you can be it unless he wants you to be it.
+1's out there. By the way, Jeff, did you know I took Satan, the 26-year-old white kid, and a famous comedian, Michael Driggs, out to a fine steakhouse in a mall in Escazú? Did you know that topic?
No, I didn't. Sounds
Which
riveting.
Kyle Hamburg ducked out, didn't want to eat dinner with me. So I take it as a sign of disrespect.
Hamburg was his boy Gabe. He forgets about us little people.
Don't forget the cigars. Does anybody smoke cigars up there, Jeff? You guys don't smoke cigars, do you?
Actually, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will accept. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe you could bring a few. No extra sweaters. You got to dress up. You got to dress up nice. That means Lacoste sweaters, and Donnie will look the part. I'm
Hugo
sure.
Boss.
Yeah, Givenchy, Yves Saint Laurent. All that kind of stuff. Gucci. That's what we rock up here, baby. The typical shit, Donnie. Donnie will meet Donnie's daughter. She'll get a Christmas gift. All the kids get Christmas gifts.
Santa will be in the house.
We go. Yes, listen. We go all out. We don't put this crap together where there's vegetable trays and shit like that. No. Catered shit, baby. That's what we do. Are we doing a show on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? No. Come on, bro. Come on, Troy. Give me a break. We work every day, but I don't think we're going to be on Christmas Day. Right, Donnie?
Is there anything even going on Christmas? Yeah, the NBA goes on, which means, yes, nothing really goes on Christmas Day. So,
Scott F., your parents bet. My dad is a serial stock bettor. Yes, my dad's very much the stock market. But no, my parents, my mother and father are very supportive of me. But no, they do not really dabble a ton. But
Jeff, true story that Diddy will make a guest appearance at your party. Is that the entertainment?
Possibly. We're trying to see if Sean will be there. Maybe. If for anyone that's not aware, Sean's a family friend. So he might be there. We don't know.
He's been up in the area, right? Wasn't he up in the area before?
Yes.
Maybe get Artie Lang to perform. Well, I mean,
he used to. Sean actually used to be. Used to come up here for Fresh Air Fund. He used to be have Amish caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
Did
he?
There you go. Yes. All right, guys. We will wrap it up here in a moment. I want to do one thing, Donnie. Bowl season, which we'll get into a little bit more tomorrow.
Well, no, but this actual thing on bowl season, Jeff, we're not actually covering games on this topic. It was just an interesting little tidbit here, which I always like to see because it dates back. I predate, obviously most of us do, but coming up where the two teams didn't always match up. You had number 1 versus number 9, number 2 versus 4, and you just made some mythical national championship up. But now coming into it, I always like when I see this. If you make an 8-team playoff, that means our regular season will be insignificant, and then the bowl seasons will go. Do you guys not understand how many people bet on these games? Do you think the bowl season will just go away just because there's a top 8 teams and Washington versus Washington State in the Apple Cup won't mean as much? Like it means anything now anyway, people. I mean, I can't believe that there's voice? I'm trying to be the Big Ten guy. Here we go. I grew up and we're supposed to win the Rose Bowl. I'd rather win the Rose Bowl than actually win the national championship. Like, stop that old dated 1940s, like the Rose Bowl means any goddamn thing. Yep. Nobody gives a shit who wins the Rose Bowl. Nobody remembers who won the fucking Rose Bowl last year. But we can't break up the Rose Bowl if we have a playoff. I mean, get away from that old school theory, man. My God.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Do you?
Christ. No, nobody gives a shit about the Rose Bowl, but they'll try to tell you it means more than the national championship. Get a life.
Let's just say 10 bringing up the Octavo Lounge, Donnie. Costa Rica. Ooh. We're here live at the Octavo Lounge.
Yeah, no, I got another quick story on Say 10 too. So one night in Costa Rica, we're all getting together, and he sets it up. Cynthia, remember Cynthia? Cynthia was there.
Yep.
And we were going to go to her house. Nice little house in the hills. Perfect night, no wind, smoke some cigars, relax, have some cocktails before we came back. I believe it was a Saturday night. So Say-10 sets it all up. Me and Kyle Hamburg, and I believe who else was there? Drew Martin was with us. I can't remember who else was with us there. A couple other people were with us. But anyway, so we go there. But Say-10 sets it up and then bounces on us and doesn't actually go to the house with us and is texting us repeatedly, what's the address? Like he was going to somehow run there and know his way around Costa Rica. So again, Say-10 left us in a lurch on that, man.
I'm sure that would have been a nice night, though.
It
A
was a
little
great
house
night.
in the
Yeah,
hills.
we were out there. It was beautiful. I mean, it's amazing. Like Costa Rica is a beautiful country. Like, can you imagine like you just live where like the front of your house just has like the big sliding doors and you just leave them open
Sure.
all night and it's perfect weather. It's amazing.
See,
It's
I
a great
just,
country.
you know what I think about, Donnie? Every time I think of like living in Costa Rica, you ever see Proof of Life? Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't think so. No, who's in it?
It's Meg Ryan's in it, Russell
Oh,
Crowe.
okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Meg
Yeah.
Ryan's husband gets kidnapped by like Colombian guerrillas, and Russell Crowe has to like hostage negotiate. Every time I think of Costa Rica, I think of that movie. Like, I don't know. You didn't think that way when you were there? Like, I might get kidnapped or something?
No, not really. And I'm telling you, we're in places where I don't, I can't, first of all, I can't speak Spanish to save my life. So you get into a cab or an Uber. I mean, it's a Spanish speaking country and I can't speak it. Thank goodness, like
See,
we were
the
at
great
dinner with
thing,
Satan. At least he was able to, like, we wouldn't even be able to order, Jeff, like almost like pointing. And they could have charged me $100,000 for that steak dinner. And I would have had no idea.
see, Donnie, where I live now, it's all Puerto Ricans and like Cubans. So
Yeah.
I almost through the years have picked it up. Like I went to this Cuban spot the other day. They have I showed you the video. They have
Yeah. Yep.
soups and all sorts of stuff. And like they kind of mix English in, so it's almost cool, because you could kind of a couple different Spanish things you could pick up. You got to pick some Spanish up, Donnie. Come on, you're Cuban, bro. Come on.
No, I know, and I should because I wouldn't pass for a very good Cuban. Going, hey, look, I got a guy who's actually Cuban in here, and then they would like, probably rip something off in Spanish to me. I'd be like, what? They'd be like, get this guy out of here. He's a narc. It's obviously he's a narc.
If I didn't know Donnie, and I mean this with the utmost, like a lot of people wouldn't say this.
Yeah.
Let's say I saw Donnie, and someone asked me, where do you think that guy's from, and what nationality is he?
Yeah.
I would have said, I guarantee you, he lives in Miami Beach, and his name is Gustavo, and he's Cuban. You come across to me, Donnie. Do you remember in Sopranos when Tony and Paulie connect with that Spanish guy to fence like power tools and shit
Yes. When they went down.
in
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
season 6? I
Yep.
feel like you'd be in that group, like that.
Yeah,
party
I
of
probably could
people.
pass for that too. Like if I let my hair grow a little bit longer, you put me in one of those
No,
nice like you put me in a Hugo Boss suit with like the little, the flat
no.
no
I
tie.
don't even think you
I'll
need
fit
your
perfect.
hair messed with at all. I think you
No?
pass right
No?
now, honestly.
Okay.
Like
Hmm.
this is my deal. Like
And
a deal.
if I threw in like a Spanish like dialect but still spoke the broken English,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like, how are you? This is deal. Or hey,
We'll
this is
say
my
back him. We have to go
this
do
is Jose.
business.
My
Yeah.
my deal. We have business to talk about. Bring us the power tools, and we bring you
Yeah,
the
Jeff, I couldn't
money.
even order. Like I was trying to order a drink, even at the casino in Escazú, and I was having problems. Like even when I order like a bottle of water, I'll be like water. Like most people know water. You know what I
Agua,
mean?
agua.
Yes. I know that. So then that's eventually what I had to say. But it was amazing. Like you couldn't even get through to anything. Like you're just pointing like to like menu items like this, and like shake your head like, and it's like yeah,
It's
steak,
not.
steak.
It's bisteca, bisteca. It's agua, agua. Give me agua, agua, agua para afuera. Para aquí, para afuera. Para aquí is here. Para afuera is to go. I got that, Donnie. I worked in a Italian restaurant. Mexicans, they taught me that. Yeah, I'm serious. This does kind of come across in what Donnie would be.
We got a lot of work to do. Yeah, I mean we can all do it.
What the fuck are you clowns talking about? Well, you're watching it, so we're talking about. Why don't you just shut up and listen, Big Joe? Is that Antonio Banderas? Yeah, maybe you could pass, Donnie. I see it. I can see it.
Maybe. What had the ponytail style though? You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I could get in that suit, that custom tailored suit, Jeff, with the nice silk shirt underneath, and me and my Cuban compadres could move around Miami, make moves.
Yeah, we got to learn a little Spanish first. All right, Donnie. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here on the right side of campus. We'll be back 3 o'clock, closing line. We will get more in depth with this college basketball card. We'll talk some more NFL as well.
Like I'm looking at the college basketball card, Jeff. Like I got 2 games lined: Moorhead, Sanford, Eastern Washington, San Francisco. Throw me a lifeboat or a life raft over here. Something.
Yep. Keep in mind, Donnie, there are a good amount of added games, which that's generally where you and I like to focus our attention anyway. We got Savannah State in Wisconsin. We also have Some other riveting games, Donnie. I mean, come on. Duquesne, Maryland Eastern, sure. Dartmouth, Donnie against Boston. Kennesaw State, Gardner-Webb. Come on, there's all sorts of stuff.
Jeff, I hear people
We'll get
pronounce that Dartmouth. Is that disrespectful to the university? You're going to bet
No,
Dartmouth.
It's Dartmouth, and that's where Michael Corleone went. So give us some respect. Come on, Donnie. Lamar, Cal State, Bakersfield. How could you not want to talk about that?
Is Frankie Ferrari playing tonight? So I want to know. That's it.
He'll be in there. He still is there.
Yeah.
Everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.